Praise the Lord, everyone. Sean back with another video for you all. Today, what do I want to talk about? Well, as you can see, I have a mask on. It's not a N95 mask, but I thought today I wanted to actually talk about wearing these masks with this whole pandemic that's going on. Um, I already made a video about the vaccine and how I feel it's not the mark of the beast if you get vaccinated. That I don't believe that you're actually secretly getting the mark. I made another video about just being safe out here with coronavirus, but I wanted to make a video just talking about wearing a mask and how I feel that some people may paint a picture that if you wear a mask that maybe you're not displaying strong enough faith in God. If you're a professing Christian, that if you wear these masks that you're just you're showing that you don't believe God's going to protect you, or He's going to heal you, or God's going to get rid of this coronavirus. It seems to be a thing where if a person has a very deep conviction about something, it seems like they automatically feel as though this is God giving me this. God told me this, and it's real easy to always feel, just because you have a strong conviction or you deeply believe in something, that is always of God. And I never like to say what is necessarily or what isn't. If the Bible doesn't speak on it, I really try not to make my mind up about it either. When it comes to things, you can either go left on it, you can go right on it. To me, I try to respect people, their right to exercise, how they feel like they're being led. So you could have someone who feels like wearing a mask is not going to do anything. They don't believe in it. They rather not wear it. And then you could have others who say, well, I do believe in wearing a mask, and I do believe in getting a vaccine. However you felt led, the best thing I could kind of say is, you read your word, you pray that God, leads you how He, sees fit, and that you pray for the understanding to know when it is God leading you, and not just your own personal conviction, your own thinking, and then also having the courage to follow whatever God, however God is leading you. But I just want to let people know, at least from my standpoint, if you decide to wear a mask, if you decide to get vaccinated, don't feel as if your faith is not as strong, or you're kind of compromising. This is a fallen world. It's sin all around us. I mean, there's plenty of things that I wish we didn't have to deal with, but it is what it is. And I honestly feel like a lot of things, even though they're not necessarily pleasant, I thank God for. We have sickness in the world, but thank God we have medicine, to help us when we're sick. We have crime in the world, but thank God that things like locks and ways to protect ourselves, we have. So if someone says, well, if you believe in God and believe in Christ, and you're wearing a mask, that you're maybe your faith isn't as strong as you thought it was. You should have enough faith that you're not going to get sick. But you have to be consistent in your reasoning. If you feel as if wearing a mask shows lack of faith, do you lock up your home when you leave? Do you lock up your car when you leave? Are you cautious of your surroundings when you're walking down the street? Do you get an annual checkup with your physician? Like, it's just different things that you do to protect yourself. Now, I'm never going to tell anybody to say, well, you're wrong if you don't do this and don't do that. That's totally up to the person. If you felt led not to, I would be the first to say, don't do something if you feel like you're being led not to do something. But I just want to let people know, do not let anyone make you feel as if you get the vaccine or if you are wearing a mask that you're showing lack of faith, and you're just kind of being controlled by the government and you're falling into their plans, whatever that may be. If you look in the Bible, you will see God provided protection for people throughout the Bible, some in supernatural ways. Other times it was just more by, you could say, like a regular type of means. Even like when Israel went into battle, they had weapons, they had things they would use to put on to protect themselves. I mean, it wasn't always just, like a supernatural defense, everyday things that they would use to protect themselves. But they just didn't necessarily go into battle just all the time. Just, well, I believe the Lord is going to protect us, so we don't need any weapons. We don't need any protection. We're just going to sit there and the Lord's going to kill all our enemies. Now, could the Lord and has the Lord done that? I believe so. But that doesn't mean that you just, kind of go about your life like that. And I think sometimes we can have our own expectation on how we feel the Lord should do for us and protect us, as opposed to just saying, Lord, whatever it is you want, that's what I'll do. We understand that the Lord provides, that is biblical. The Lord provides, but the Lord may provide in a way that doesn't match your expectations. You think about John the Baptist. Here's a man who was prophesied about in the Old Testament, and he's living in the wilderness, dressed in camel's hair, eating wild locusts and honey. Would you consider that, a way that the Lord is providing for him? Some people may say, well, the Lord, he's really going to set you up really nice. You're going to have a really nice place to live, and you're going to be eating fine meals and stuff like that. But that wasn't the case, at least from what we see for John the Baptist. He ended up getting thrown in prison and ultimately getting decapitated. So the Lord definitely provides, and he protects us, but it may not be according to how we always think it should be. So, the Lord may say, he may have something like this in place for us so that we can, be protected. If there's someone around me in my house that's sick, I have no problem putting a mask on just to make sure, to say, I want to make sure, I don't get sick, and I don't feel like it shows any lack of faith from me wearing a mask. But that's just my own, how I felt led. But I'm not going to look at the next person and say, well, if you don't have a mask, I'm looking at you sideways. It's like, if we have a difference of opinion, that's fine. But if you felt led not to have a mask, then I would say, okay, well, if that's how you feel led, I'm not God. Maybe God put something on your heart. Whatever the case may be, go ahead. Okay, so I'm going to be reading 2 Kings chapter 5, verses 1 through 14. And as I'm reading, really pay attention to what's going on and relate that to what's going on as far as some people feeling like if you wear a mask or get the vaccine, you're not showing your faith and you're kind of falling into the hands of, maybe a corrupt government. Okay. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master and honorable because by him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. And the Syrians had gone out by companies and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife. And she said unto her mistress, would God my Lord were the prophet that is in Samaria, for he will recover him of his leprosy. And one went in and told his Lord, saying, thus and thus said the maid that is of the land of Israel. And the king of Syria said, go, and I will send a letter unto the king of Israel. And he departed and took with him 10 talents of silver and 6,000 pieces of gold and 10 changes of raiment. And he brought the letter to the king of Israel, saying, now, when this letter is come unto thee, behold, I have therewith sent Naaman my servant to thee, that thou mayest recover him of his leprosy. And it came to pass, when the king of Israel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes and said, am I God to kill and to make alive, that this man doth send unto me to recover a man of his leprosy? Wherefore consider, I pray you, and see how he seeketh a quarrel against me. And it was so, when Elijah the man of God had heard the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he had sent to the king, saying, wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariot, and stood at the door of Elisha. Now, I want you all to really key in on what's about to transpire. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. But Naaman was wroth, and went away, and said, behold, I thought he would surely come out to me, and stand, and call on the name of the Lord his God, and strike his hand over the place, and recover the leper. Are not Abba and Pharpar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. And his servants came near and spake unto him, and said, my father, if the prophet had bid thee to do some great thing, wouldest thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he saith to thee, wash and be clean? Then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, and his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. Okay, so we see in this account of Naaman, this person who was it says a mighty man of valor, but he was also a leper, that, he was going to get recovered. And he just assumed that, Elisha, the prophet, was going to, I guess, come out and do some grandiose gesture, calling up to God, almost like how Elijah did when he called up to God, and God made fire rain down on his sacrifice and all that. I guess he assumed something to that effect was going to happen. And, Elisha didn't even come out. He sent his own messenger to pass the message to say, go to the river Jordan and dip, wash yourself 7 times in there. And, he had an expectation in his mind on what he thought was going to happen. And even furthermore, even the river that Elisha told him to go to, he even had a problem with that. He named two other rivers, and he said, "Aren't those more cleaner than Jordan? Why don't I just go there?" But fortunately, he did what Elisha had said. He came out clean. But the point that I'm just showing is that he had in his mind an expectation of how he should be cured, and when it didn't fit that expectation, you see how upset he was. So sometimes we can have things set up in our minds that things should go a certain way, or we think that if we truly believe in God, we need to act as if nothing is wrong, because hey, God is going to almost have like a force field around us, and if you have a mask, get a vaccine, you're just showing your lack of faith. But again, pray on it. If you felt led to do something, if you felt led, then I would say by all means. But the Lord also gives us, we can trust in the Lord, but the Lord gives us common sense too. And I think it's kind of easy to bypass that in the name of God, just to say, well, everything is going to be done quick, fast, and in a hurry. I don't have to do anything, and God's going to take care of it all. Like, yes, God is in complete control, no doubt about that. But like I said, God gives us common sense. I feel like we've been living long enough to know that. It's so easy to like go into a situation and just feel as though, well, I'm not going to take any precaution because God got me. Well, yeah, I mean, if you feel like God got you, great. But if God says, "I want you to wear this mask," then I mean, what you gonna say? Well, no, Lord, I don't need to wear a mask. You can just, and I'll be good, right? It don't work that way. So, like I said, mask, no mask. If you felt led to say, if I have to go to a place where I have to wear a mask and I don't want to, then just don't go. Find another way to get to where you need to go. But don't feel bad. Don't feel like you don't have faith if you get the vaccine, or you choose to wear a mask. I don't believe you have anything to kind of feel ashamed about. There's tons of things that God has set up so that, in this world of sin that we live in and the effects of it, there are things that are in place to protect us and to, help treat things, whether that be sickness, crime, and any and everything else. So, just want to make this video, just kind of give my 2 cents on the matter. So, till next time, God bless.